game in Belgium. It's really fantastic. I don't know what it's called, and I don't quite know the rules, but we really should try it sometime. And so and then I guess Mike Schofield started coming around the house, and I got Mike and talking about it, and then it was like, well, let's do it this Sunday. And Mike phoned me like at 9:30 in the morning. Look, I'm going to phone these guys, and you phone these guys, and let's get them out. So every summer we started playing at Dow's Lake, and we were really enthused about it, and blah blah blah. And then Craig Fielding and John Dowding showed up one Sunday, and it was all like, boy, I wish those other people would play in this city. And in the meantime, we're playing
somewhere else.
Because we're saying if we could ever be on one team, we'd kick ass
Right.
all over the place,
Right.
boy. But we have to play against ourselves.
Right.
And of course, we didn't even know what a forehand was, and you guys certainly did. So
because I had been playing at McGill from about 84, I guess. 83.
oh yeah, okay.
That was the first time that there was an intramural league put together there. And,
Right. But anyway, yeah. But I remember the one with the first No Borders when we were playing on Dow's Lake, and we were playing, and a couple guys came by on a bicycle, and they went, "Oh wow, did you know there's like 8 or 9 teams playing in a big tournament at the RA Center?" And we're like, and we hadn't even heard of anybody.
This is at the end of the summer, eh?
Yeah, and we're sort of like, really? And we all stopped and talked to these guys, eh? And it was sort of, wow, maybe somebody else is playing. It can't be the same thing. Oh, maybe it is. And then we sort of looked at each other and went, do you want to go? No, let's just keep playing. So we just kept playing.
So you didn't even go out to RA Center to
No, it was a Sunday afternoon anyway.
Yeah.
But no, we were having too much fun. And like we didn't. So then I guess that was our first indication that other people were playing in the city. And then you did the thing on Parliament Hill for the March Meltdown.
Yeah, I missed that one too. I was at school, I guess. Or where was I? I don't know, traveling or something.
Right.
But I remember hearing about that.
Well, Craig saw it in the paper. I guess Marcus got it in the paper, and Craig got it in the paper. And like I didn't know Craig from Adam. He came out, and I always thought I didn't really like him because he was always like
jumping around
and talking so much. You know how Craig gets you going, and like I'm bored after 2 minutes. It was like and he would walk beside me all the way home to my house, and I'm like, oh man, dude, go talk to somebody else, kind of thing. This is on tape. Sorry, Craig. It's just that was it. I've already told you all this anyway.
He loves you now. Anyway, that's what counts.
And anyway, so I really didn't know Craig, but Craig saw it in the newspaper, and then he sort of went out and he got Marcus's name and address or phone number or something, and he got that there was going to be a league. And then, like, and this was over the winter, so I hadn't seen Craig over the winter at all. And Mike Schofield had a party that coincidentally very shortly after that, and we ran into him. He says, oh yeah, there's a league starting up, blah blah blah, here's the number.
Did you even know what this was called at this point? Like, did you know it was
I
called
don't.
Ultimate?
I still don't. Maybe at this point, Craig's known that it's called Ultimate, but we didn't know it was called Ultimate. At least I don't think so. I don't remember because I did play in tournaments in Europe.
Yeah.
I played it for Warwick University. But anyway, so Craig gave me Marcus's phone number, and I phoned Marcus, and Marcus gave me Brian's phone number, and I phoned Brian, and Brian said, well, in 2 weeks there's a captain's meeting. We're starting a league. So I phoned Craig back and I said, you want to come with me? I'm going to go to this captain's meeting. So Craig and I went. There was Myrna was there, and Laura was there.
Oh my God.
Tim Hockey was there. John Atkinson was there. John Bensinger was there. Marcus, Brian Guthrie, and a couple others.
Wow.
And they were all like, and Marcus came bounding to the door, eh? Come in. Hey, we're going to, where was the 86, I don't know, the Worlds.
Oh,
They were putting the Worlds together.
Colchester, yeah.
Oh, was that?
86 was Colchester.
Okay. We're going to Colchester. I hear you played internationally. You've got to come put in your resume, right? And in the meantime, I can throw like this, right? But Marcus was so enthusiastic. It was funny. So anyway, they started this, and I guess then they picked those 4 captains. It was Johnny B, Johnny A. I don't even know Mike Davis.
Who's the captain of
and Brian.
Of the Ultimate Revolution.
John Bensinger.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then John Atkinson, was Atka, is that his name? You know,
Yeah.
Big Johnny, I just knew him as Johnny A. Mike Davis was the captain, and they picked, I think they had a draft or something, and they picked people. Is that how? I don't know.
I don't remember. I wasn't around. I guess I was traveling or something, and I came back, and God, I don't even remember how I ended up on Revolution. But I just knew that one day I showed up, and there I was on Revolution.
Well, they had their 4 teams picked already anyway. Before the captain's meeting, they were just working out the logistics of how the league was going to work, and then of course we walked in, and it was sort of like, well, we have a team too, and it was like Craig and I, Mike Schofield and Chris Duddle. And Chris Duddle, like, the guy wouldn't play competitive anything if just not for him, right? So we had 3 people. Oh yeah, we got a team, you know. And then we went out, and that's how all the Zonkers came together. Like, we didn't know any of those guys.
Yeah.
Like Sue Morris, I mean, I sort of knew Sue Morris, but she joined. And Andrew Clarke, I worked with Avis, with Derek Burney, and Derek Burney was a friend of Andrew's. And Mike Schofield brought in like Johnny, like Craig and Johnny, and I don't know who else was an original. But all these people who didn't know each other, we sort of one Thursday night we showed up and there was like 18 people. Wow, this is great. And nobody knew anybody. We didn't have a name or anything yet. We just knew that we couldn't have blue and we couldn't have red, and the colors we couldn't have because they were already taken. So that's how yellow, because yellow was one color that was left over, right?
Yeah.
And we were throwing around a whole bunch of names. And did you know Dave Serfin?
No.
Surfing Dave, I didn't think so. So anyway, he came up with the name Screaming Yellow Zonkers, and at first, that's no good. And one night,
How you doing?
Chris and me and Mike Schofield and somebody else were getting drunk in the Duke of Somerset, right? And we're going, Screaming Yellow Zonkers. Yeah. Screaming Yellow Zonkers. Ooh, Screaming Yellow Zonkers. And we're getting really, that's a great name. Screaming Yellow Zonkers. Screaming Yellow Zonkers. And then it was settled, right? And that's how the name came, man. So we got the yellow, we had, okay, well, we're yellow, so it works, blah, blah, blah. And I told Craig, like, the next day, because Craig wasn't even there. So I was like, okay, Screaming Yellow Zonkers, it is.
That's great. So that was in 85, right?
That was in 86.
86.
I think
Right.
Yeah, right in the spring, March and April of 86. And I know that there was 2 things. First of all, we had to get the first week as a bye. Because remember, there was 5 teams, so
Yeah.
every 5th week or every 4th week you got a bye.
Yeah.
So we got the first bye because we didn't have a team yet. And the other thing is they wanted to start at 6 o'clock, but for the Zonker, if you played the Zonkers, it was 6:45. Because we're all like, we're people who work landscaping and stuff, or and had all these.
Didn't own an alarm clock.
Yeah.
Might not have even gotten
We're just
up
getting
yet.
out of bed, guys. So that was funny.
When did the head get developed? Because the first T-shirt wouldn't have had that. The
No,
original T-shirt.
The head was not until Mikey G. The first year we got.
The spiral. Was it a spiral? Like a.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and the guy was coming out of it, going for this. I can't even remember, to tell you honest truth. And then the second year was that big sort of Whitey with the big pig head on the back, and the hand coming out with the mouth out of the hand.
Oh yeah.
And then on the back was this really ugly boar of some kind. I don't know. Whitey liked it. I don't know. Well, there's a story. Whitey. We didn't know Whitey. He came by on his bicycle one day, and we were throwing it around, and he stopped, and we said, "Do you want to play for our team?" And he got off the bike, and that's how we met Whitey. And I mean, the rest is history, right? But and then it was the 3rd year we got the head.
Yeah.
Mike G started the 3rd year.
And he's another guy who just sort of showed up and was watching for a while, right?
No, I worked at Carleton, and we played baseball, and he worked for I don't know, he knew the Schnoids, which is the sort of media baseball team from Carleton.
Oh.
So he played on our baseball team, and afterwards we used to go to Mike's place at Carleton and have some beers, and he sat beside me one day. I started talking to him about it, and he came out and started watching. And he just would come out and watch. He didn't ask to play. And finally, after a month of that, we said, we gotta let this guy play. So then, I remember that we went to the farm one day. Nobody showed up except Andrew and I, And then Mike G showed up. And it was at that point we said, Mike, you're a zonker. You want to be a zonker? Sure. Okay. So that's when he became a zonker that afternoon. That's when it was easy. You can make all these kind of unilateral decisions and not have to worry about it. Decision making's got a lot more difficult since then.
It's easier to be authoritarian than it is to get
It's way easier. Way easier. But so he must have started, that must have been the second year. Because he must have been in full swing the third, because when we did, because we designed the shirts early in the year, and this was definitely, so he came around this mid-second. And like all, the guys who came at the end of the first year were Rod, Wheels, and Tom Turnbull.
Tom Turnbull played on Zonkers?
Yeah, for sure, for years, for
Really?
2 or 3 years.
But then he started his other team.
The floating point. Sure.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. God.
Sure, they were all buddies. Tom, Rod, and Wheels were buddies, and they all came onto the team at the same time.
Oh,
In
okay.
fact, Tom and Wheels, who joined at the end of the first year, even came with like Sergeant Renfrew and the Pull Toys that very year.
Oh.
We went down to can't remember the name of the place in New York.
Oh, Ithaca. That there's a
No,
tournament.
no, it was the regionals.
Oh.
It was the sectionals, and it was in.
Did you see this little motel?